This is going to be a lot of fun. We are going to be building not one, not two, but 3 farms today. Like, I love building farms, but 3 of them? Yeah, this is going to be a long one. I need to collect all the resources for this stuff because these 3 farms, well, they are small. When you add them all together, that is a lot of resources. We're mainly going to be building out of quartz, which is, yeah, that's going to be expensive. So these 3 farms are an iron farm, a basalt farm, and a nether tree farm for Astazora. We got together at the end of last episode to talk about it, so if you haven't watched that yet, make sure you go and do that before you watch this episode. But before we do that, I'd like to mention something. So this concrete maker that we worked on last time, it doesn't have a storage system yet. A few of you guys pointed that out in the Discord, and I just wanted to address that on video because we will be putting one of these in eventually. So we're over in As's area right now. There's a starter house and there's where his starter equipment was the other day there when we brought the care package. Now what I'm planning is we're going to build these 3 farms on the surface, but we're going to have them spread out around the island because I don't want them too close to each other because I might want to do some building in the future. One thing I do know is we need to keep this pond here clear for another project that I will be working on in this area in the future as well. But that won't be for a while yet because that is a fairly large one. But yeah, we've got plenty of space. I'm thinking we should put this stuff along the coast. The iron farm, I'm probably going to put that here. The basalt farm, we're going to put that over here. Oh, would you look at that? There's a patrol over there. In the nether tree farm, we can put either here or over here. I think over here will be the better option. Now that we know where everything's going to go, we can get started with these builds. I think first of all, we're going to focus on the iron farm. And there we go, the iron farm is done. This farm should produce approximately 2000 ingots per hour. You may be noticing that this farm is actually similar to the mega iron farm we have, and you're right, but there is a few minor differences. One of those differences is in this farm we only use 6 cells of villagers, whereas in my mega one we use 7 per module. And not only that, this takes up a smaller footprint as well because I didn't want this farm to be too big because after all this is only meant to be a starter farm and Asta specifically requested, well that's new, that we do this on a small scale. So it's quite simple, this runs using a hopper clock, the same one as before, so if we look in here, we have 50 items and this should be almost perfectly timed to the villagers' sleep cycles. And the way you activate this farm is simply by flicking this lever and then letting the spawn attempts happen. It can take a little moment for the spawns to actually happen though after you activate it. So essentially what happens is the iron golems fall into this water trap and they're then pushed into the central kill chamber right here. The items fall down into this ice path and then head on over to the storage system. And if we take a look in here, oh wow, this farm's been running for a bit. Good to know, at least it's working, that's very good. Funny thing, I actually took a little bit of a break after building this because I didn't want to bum myself out with this project that much in fact that Arsa started work on his base project. Make sure you go and check out his channel for all of that stuff. And with that out of the way, let's focus on the basalt farm. The basalt farm we're about to construct was initially designed by Splashes over a year ago. There's a link to the tutorial in the description of the video. But with that being said, let's jump into hyperspeed build mode and get started on this thing. Alright, so we got the basalt farm finished. This really didn't take all that long whatsoever and it was fairly simple to build. So far I've already done a test and I can confirm this thing is working perfectly. I will need to do some more testing here, but I am quite confident with this system, so I've went ahead and filled the dispenser up there with TNT along with the chest, so there's plenty of TNT to run this thing for quite a while. You should be able to run this thing for at least an hour, maybe 2. I don't know what the rates of TNT usage are like, so Ast, if you're watching this, you might want to think about installing a TNT duper. So yeah, all you need to do in order to use this thing is come over here and flick this lever. Before we do so, we're actually going to turn down the Minecraft volume because this thing can be quite loud. So activate it. As you can see, the basalt is being generated. TNT will fall as it did right there, and then it will blow up, like so. And there you go, there is your basalt generator. And there you go, this thing should produce 36,000 basalt per hour. One little thing you might notice as well is during the time lapse we used regular clear glass, and that's no longer in the build. Because clear glass is horrible, you don't use that in builds unless it's for specific use cases. But for a build like this, no, go with dyed glass. And just like we did with the iron farm, we built this out of pure quartz because we're rich and we have lots of quartz. Alright, so next up we have the nether tree farm. Now for this nether tree farm I was thinking of putting it either here or over there. Now I don't want all this stuff too close together because I want to give Asta some breathing room. So rather than putting the nether tree farm here, we're going to go and put it over here in this little bay area right here. And with that being said, let's jump into hyperspeed mode for the final time for this project and get this final farm built. And there we go, the nether tree farm is built as well. Since this is the second time I've been building this, I built it a lot faster and I didn't spend as much time footering around with the TNT dupers up there. As you can see, I've been testing this thing and it is working on the first try, which was super cool. Unlike the last time, I made sure to expand the storage because the last farm we built, we only went with the basic storage system for that and that wasn't exactly ideal. So we can store the nether wart blocks, of the different stems, the other warp blocks, and shroom lights. There isn't much shroom lights in the system right now, but these will gather over time. Now you may be thinking, will this affect the conversion back to bone meal? And yes it will, but you can always just remove the filter and then let the warp blocks go and be converted. But all in all, I am quite happy with this system. So I've went ahead and filled the bone meal input line with bone meal. So Asta should be able to use this for quite some time. I've also did something else a little bit different if we just come to our landing here. So we've got a regular input for the fungi, but I've also dedicated a few barrels for the different types of fungi because, well yeah, it's good to have an option, and if Asta decides to build a dedicated fungi farm, it should be easy enough to, you know, move these things elsewhere and then hook them all up together. I've also left a few signs here. To start, flick a lever below the barrel, that would be this lever down here. Use the trapdoor to access the crawl space, and then place fungi on the Nylium, whatever it's called. The thing about this farm, if you want to use the crimson fungi, you need to use the crimson Nylium, and it's the same for the warped fungi. If you want to use that, you need to use the warped Nylium, or else it won't work. And there we go, there's that project finally done. That was a long one. Alright, so next up for today we need to go and meet up with Splash because she needs to work on her ship and she needs to convert a lot of concrete. Hey Splash, what's going on?
Hello.
How can I help you?
So, I'm told you made yourself a fancy new concrete converter, and, well, I have some shulker boxes that I need to convert
Yes, I see the dilemma here. Yeah, well, we can do that. Let me just give you these back. That's a lot of shulkers.
I have an equal number of red terracotta up there as well.
Wow. I take it that's for the skin of your ship.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this back end of the ship here. So it'll be one of the biggest sections that I'll have to do. But then I still have the bottom of the ship, and then the center of the ship, and then the front of the ship.
Ah, nice. Well, it's a good thing you're here. This is the concrete building, so if you just follow me, we have the entrance in the roof, because yes. Down here...
sense.
Oh yeah, I know, right? Down here to the left, we have the TNT system. Now, we don't use a duper, so we just input TNT and then it does its thing. What I'll do is I'll fill this up for you before you use it. Because,
oh, thank you, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah, it's a bit on the empty side. Down here, this is not decorated at all. So, pardon the mess. But this is the...
Yeah, I can see that, Dad.
This is the thing, yeah. Yeah, that was an afterthought when I was building this place. So,
You didn't even have stairs.
Yeah, I know. So I guess before I show you this, I'll show you where the storage is, since I totally didn't quickly build it before we started recording here.
No, and I
Oh,
totally
creeper,
wasn't watching. Oh no.
Yeah, this area isn't safe. So yeah, this is the storage system here. It's just fairly simple, ice road type thing. Oh, there's a major flaw. I forgot a piece of ice there. I'll have to
What?
fix that.
Wait, what? I can't
Oh no.
go.
Ah, yes, that's the problem. Hold on. I will punch this skeleton to death. This was not part of the plan. It can't hit anything.
Well, what do you mean it can't hurt anything? It's hurting me.
Ah, there we go. See, we killed it. Haha. Teamwork.
How did we go down?
I guess we can just break the ladder, then go down like that. So while these skeletons are attempting to shoot at us, let's look at this thing. So one thing I would recommend.
So is this spot actually safe to AFK in?
I don't actually know. One thing you might want to do is build a little wall out of your shulkers to protect you. Or you know, some other durable block.
I'm sort of getting that feeling here.
Yeah. Obviously, like, I built this and then I haven't really done anything with it since. That's why this area is still technically unfinished. But the thing is usable. So one thing I would recommend is you turn your block volume down.
And I imagine we just flip this boy, load our stuff up in here, and then you place the red concrete right up against this piston.
That's correct. And then it does its thing.
Nice.
And because this is a smart blast chamber, it doesn't fire TNT all the time, so it will only fire it once a massive clump of concrete or whatever it is you're blowing up gets into the blast chamber itself. Well, I will help you get everything set up, and then I'll leave you to your concrete making devices.
Okay.
Alright, so it's been about a day or two since Splash used the concrete maker, and oh, speaking of, there she is right there. I am quite curious in seeing what her ship is currently looking like. Wow, this thing is looking fantastic when it's actually got blocks on it. Oh yeah, that needs a spawn proof right there. Oh, flyweight. So yeah, I can see this is where the concrete was used. These appear to be some engines. And if we can get a better angle in this, let's just fly over here. Yeah, they look good. They look awesome. But yeah, no, Splash, it's really good to see that this ship is finally getting finished. Or well, partially finished. There's still a lot more to go in this project. Oh, and one thing I should mention as well, I made sure to get permission to show this before I did it because I wasn't sure when Splash was going to release her episode, but she was more than happy to let me come over and take a look. So, with all that out of the way, we have yet another collaboration lined up. Recently, Boss purchased a villager breeder from Villager++. That was over a week ago, and I think it's time we actually get to work on that project. Before we can start working on that project, we need to head over to Boss's area so that we can meet up with him and discuss exactly what he needs.
All right, we're over here waiting for Death to talk about the villager breeder.
Why, hello there. I heard you had an order for me.
I do have an order for you. I placed it in your little shop, but I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about it because I know it's a little bit of a custom order.
Yeah, it is quite custom from what you've told me about this before.
Yeah, so basically this is the building that will fit the breeder and purification chamber inside of it.
Yeah.
So basically you have free reign within this green wool to build however you want, as long as it's within the green wool.
Oh yeah, that won't be a problem. This is plenty of space for this breeder and purification thingy. Lots of space.
So basically what I just want is a decent enough breeder. It doesn't need to be the best thing ever, so kind of just use your own best judgment. And then basically I want to be able to click a button, pull a villager out, have it zombified, and then basically be able to send it wherever I want.
Oh, that's awesome. That is actually a fairly simple system, and it should be really easy to implement and build. It'll be fairly quick as well, actually.
Awesome. I also already have the zombie that I would like to use. You might have seen him. He's over here, sitting in a cauldron. He was my very first zombie. And he was my original Iron Farm zombie. So he has a sharpness 5 sword. So he should one-hit villagers to zombify them.
Awesome. Yeah, that
I don't know if you want to move him with it, and feel free to charge me the extra cost of that, or if you just want to tell me where to put him.
Oh, it's fine. I'll move him. But since he's got a helmet on, all I need to do is just kind of make sure he moves over quickly before the helmet breaks. And
Perfect.
Yeah, should be fine.
Sweet. Well, there's one last thing I want to talk about before we call this good, and that is I was about to move 2 villagers and realized that you have a service where I could
I
just
do.
pay you 1 diamond per villager.
Indeed,
So
I do.
I really don't want to move these 2 villagers, but if we go all the way to the bottom, they're fully maxed out. They're fully, like, their trades are as best as they can be. They sell me 1 emerald for 1 stone, so I'd like to keep them.
Yeah.
And they need to go all the way up to the top and into the forge.
Awesome, yeah, that should be simple enough. I'll just take them out of their cells, push them into this elevator, take them up, and then get them into position.
Sweet, and then I believe that your cost is 1 diamond per villager, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So I'll just prepay for those 2.
Ah, thank you. Awesome.
And then let me show you really quick before you leave where I would like them. So they're going here into the left side. And these are the 2 slots for them.
Awesome, awesome. All right, I see. Oh yeah, you've already filled all this other stuff up. Yeah, that'll be fairly easy to do.
Awesome. Well, hey, I appreciate you stopping over here and checking this out. I'm excited to see what you decide to build over there.
Oh yeah, it's been good fun. I'll get this project done as soon as possible so you can get some more building done.
Sweet. Well, hey, Death, I appreciate it. I know that we haven't collabed too much this season, and this is kind of like a mini collaboration, but I'm definitely looking forward to getting this completed and filling up all of these buildings with villagers.
Oh yeah, so am I. I've already got this build kind of planned out, so I'm really looking forward to doing it. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what you do with it once it's done.
Well, if you have any questions for me when you're going through the build process or anything, just message me, and we'll go from there.
All right, well, dude, that's awesome. Right, well, I guess I will take my leave and go and get ready for this project.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
See you soon, dude.
All right, bye.
Right, so first of all, I'd like to say it was great to collaborate with the boss. I really wanted to come over to this area on video for quite a while, and it is looking fantastic. With the bit we just recorded, I missed out several components, so if you want to see what else we spoke about, make sure you go and check out his video. So what I'm thinking here is we're going to go with a 5-cell villager breeder, the same one we built for Lego and for Splash, with a few different things, mainly the zombie converter right next to it, and we're going to have ways to kill the baby villagers to stop lag. Since we have an interesting shape to play with here, I'm thinking we're probably going to put it here, right around here. Now we need to make sure it's not too close to here because it might eventually be a redstone door. So we need to measure things out perfectly carefully. Alright, so this should be quite simple. So we're going to put the villager up in the air because there's eventually going to be a building here. The baby villagers will drop down into a holding cell where they'll grow up. Then we'll have the option to send them to a zombie to be converted, and then we'll have the resources to convert them back into villagers, and then boss can send them wherever he needs to. And with that being said, let's get cracking on with this project in the form of a third-person time-lapse. Alright, so I went ahead and filled the breeder with a chest of carrots. As we can see here, my system for dealing with the baby villagers wasn't working perfectly, so we do need to make a few minor changes. So yeah, one thing I want to point out as well, boss, if you're watching this thing does spit food all over the place, so you might find the occasional carrot floating about. Don't worry about that, that's perfectly normal. You can pick them up if they are outside the breeder and then put them back into the system. One thing we do need to do is that rail line up there, not speaking of bosses all in right now, what we need to do is we need to bring that down low, so somewhere down at this level, and have it access a chest. So what we'll do is we'll have a hopper minecart that uses a rail line, we'll put it below a chest, the chest will be full of food, and then that will take the food up and into the system. And after a few changes, this thing is now good to go. So we have the rail line that will take food up and into the breeder. So all we need to do is place food into this chest, and then once we're ready to have this thing run back and forth, we just flick this lever. I also went ahead and fixed the baby villager problem by placing a block of glass at the same height as the ice there. That means that when the villagers grow up, they will have to phase through the blocks, as opposed to using the air pocket we were using before. And yeah, there you go, there's some food that's on the ground there. So boss, whenever this happens, just pick it up, put it back in the chest, and then let it go and do its thing. But that isn't the only thing we need to do. We also need to install a few villagers into the building behind me, along with moving some villagers from another location within this base. So if we look over here, you can see there's a few rails going over this area, and that's because Boss has been putting the villagers in by himself. Now, if I check over here, I believe it's on this side, we need to put villagers here and here. And if we look over here, we need to do the exact same thing. So there should be 2 cells free here and here. So what we need to do is we'll need to actually use 2 of the villagers from our breeder for this setup, because the other 2 are downstairs. So if we just drop them down here, there we go. Yeah, these guys are the guys we need to move. What we'll probably do is we'll bring them out of their cells one by one, send them up this elevator, and then get in position once they're up top. Alright, so we got the villagers in place. Sadly, one of the villagers we brought from down below died. But according to Boss, it was the villager he didn't like. So this is the villager that we had down there. This is a good villager, he's the Science Terracotta trade, and then this is one of the brand new ones. And there we go. There's another project finished, and we now have lots of more diamonds. That made us a lot of diamonds. So I have 13 diamonds in my inventory from other things I was doing earlier on. And we've also got all these diamonds in here, so there's 44 diamonds in there. Most of these are from Asta, along with these diamonds for this iron farm, and then there's the 3 diamond blocks for the nether tree farm we bought for Lego Flame a few episodes ago. All in all, that's a good haul, and I know for a fact my other shops have diamonds in them as well, but we're not going to be touching those for a little bit, because I think we're going to keep that for the next Captains of Industry meeting. That was an insanely productive episode, and you know what? It was a lot of fun. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that, why don't you leave a like and subscribe and hit the bell icon. And hey, why don't you check out this video?